This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
The opinions on this program are those of the program host and guest and not necessarily those of WPSL. WPSL does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WPSL. Legal questions? Ask a lawyer. Give us a call at 340-1590, 340-1590 here at the studios of WPSL. And Ask a Lawyer with your host, attorney Stuart M. Address.
Good morning. It is July 5th, Friday. Time for another episode of Ask a Lawyer. I hope you are all not quite too sunburned and don't need too much aloe. I know that we did a little bit of a barbecue and a little bit of pool yesterday, and I hope everybody else had a reasonably good time with family. Hopefully the disagreements were kept to a minimum. I know that...
You mean less than Thanksgiving?
Yeah, well, that happens in my house too, but yesterday was pretty good. We had a very nice day, so I hope you all did too.
So when does your son leave for debate camp?
He's been there for a week.
Oh, that was last week.
Right now he's at Disney. Right now they took him after a week of work. They took him at 5:45 this morning to Disney. They're going to stay there until the park closes.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Come back way in the wee hours of the morning.
Yep.
And the good thing is on Saturday they don't start until about noon. So they get to sleep in. I was hearing it before, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just hearing myself. I don't know. All right, so, yeah, he's done. Oh, that dang printer is still yelling at me. Lisa, please turn it off. He had, over the last 2 days, his first practice debate rounds in Lincoln Douglas debate.
Ooh, okay. How'd it go?
He had to develop a case. He had to develop a proposition, values criterion. He had to come up with the evidence for the proposition they're arguing over these 2 weeks. And he said it went okay. The young lady he was debating had been debating for 2 years.
Oh.
This was his first practice round ever.
Of course, he's a rookie.
He sent me a video of his pre-practice before the practice round. And I heard him speaking like, it is illegal for active vendors to practically. Folks, that's called spread debating. It's what I learned when I was in New Jersey. It's very popular, or was very popular in the 70s and 80s in the Northeast. In the South, they did not do that. And when we would debate in the South and we would start spread debating, we'd get a look from the judge like, you're going to lose.
It's because they speak slower here.
So I said that to him. I said, I know you're speaking really fast and you have to enunciate, but they don't do that here. He said, well, he's with national caliber coaches who've won national championships for themselves and their students. He says they do that now in the South. They are spread debaters. You speak as fast as you can, still to be understood, to get as much information as you can in the allotted time.
So it's not like the FedEx guy.
What's the FedEx guy?
The guy that spoke real fast?
Probably something like that.
Yeah.
So I was listening to him, and of course, it's been a long time since I've heard spread debating. And my first time listening to his video, I couldn't quite make it all out. It was too fast. But when I listened to it again, you develop an ear for it if you're in debate. And so, his judges can understand what he's saying and take notes that fast because they abbreviate. So once you get into the hang of things, you're able to handle it. But to the ordinary listener, it's like, what's happening here? I either can't understand them or they're speaking way too fast for me to comprehend. And it's an interesting technique to learn, of course. That technique doesn't translate into the real world unless you're going to get a job like a commercial, something like that.
Can't do that in the courtroom.
Right, no. But what was really very interesting before I go on to my topic is I saw my kid who all of a sudden was really apparently diligent in something, really serious about something, seemed to have put a lot of work into preparation of his case, the contentions he was arguing, his evidence. It was like, whoa, wow. And all week long, he would call me late in the evening. And once he got back to his room after 8.5 hours of classroom instruction.
Oh, my God.
And he'd tell me he has homework. Well, every day he'd come home from school. You have homework? No. You have homework? No. Homework? No, I did it in school. The kid never had homework. I didn't believe that. This week, I have homework. How much homework? A few hours. Well, you just had 8.5 hours of class. Yeah, well, I have a lot to do before tomorrow morning. I can't talk very long. And I sometimes I'd laugh. Sometimes I'd say to him, well, good for you. Learn what it's like to work hard and hopefully become better at something, enjoy it, and excel. Because that's the only way you'll keep working like that. And he has apparently enjoyed it quite a bit this first week and is smiles and working that hard, and that makes me very happy and very proud. And I can't wait to see if it translates into next school year with me not having to tell him, did you turn in that assignment? I know you did it. Did you turn it in? Because I can't tell you what it's like, not only to know your kid did the work, but then to see a 0 because he didn't turn it in. So, with that all being said, it was just July 4th, and as I was sitting there in the pool yesterday, I thought to myself, what am I going to talk about tomorrow? I mean, I can go back to my normal topics, and, I have a lot of stuff that I didn't get to last week. But I thought, July 4th celebrates our independence from jolly old England, celebrates what we perceive to be the oppression from the king's laws as applied to the colonies.
Or as the Queen of England says, National Treason Day.
Well, okay. And so I thought to myself, well, we were so gung-ho to get out from under the thumb of the king's oppressive laws. What did we do now? So, folks, I've done a little bit of a survey of crazy laws that still exist in states across the country.
Oh, no. Oh, the outdated ones.
Some of them are outdated. Some of them are actually modern enough for the 20th century. One just went to effect in Florida on July 1st, and it has a crazy provision in it. So let's first start with Florida, shall we? Florida. Did you know it is illegal for hot dog vendors to dress provocatively? I got laughter here in the studio, folks. And by the way, feel free to call us at 772-340-1590 with any questions you might have, or if you hear a law, you want to talk about it, call me, or if you know of another crazy law, call me. Anyway, the Chapter 39 of Florida statutes under zoning, commercial districts, says that mobile food vendors, which includes hot dog vendors, their attire, inappropriate attire, shall include clothing which shows any portion of the anal cleft, cleavage, or buttocks of males or females, such as G-strings, T-back bathing suits, thong bikinis, or any other clothing that does not completely and opaquely cover the anal cleft, cleavage, or buttocks of males and females.
They had bathing suit clad people at the beaches selling hot dogs here.
Well, then they weren't enforcing that law because it is a law.
When was that law passed, for God's sakes?
That one I don't have when it was passed, but it is a current law. It still exists.
Oh, jeez.
Now, here's another current law, which I don't have. I don't have my paperwork on it, but I know this law very well. In Florida, you know all those beware of dog signs you see everywhere?
Oh, yeah.
Folks, you're making a tragic mistake. Those beware of dog signs mean nothing. They get you nothing in case your dog bites somebody. In order to have any protection whatsoever under Florida statute, and I have dealt with 2 of these cases myself, you must have a sign that says, bad dog. Why bad dog? Because the Florida statute says it has to have the word bad dog on the sign. Now, what does that get you? You buy that lovely sign that says bad dog instead of beware of dog. What does that get you? Well, let's look behind curtain number 1. what it gets you is, unless a child is under the age, I believe it's of 8, but it could be a little younger. Unless it's a young child, it buys you one free bite, essentially.
Okay.
If they come onto your property having seen the bad dog sign, essentially, with some exceptions, you got a free bite. But where a dog doesn't do that. So, folks, I told this to the mother of somebody I once dated. Go get your bad dog sign. And she thought I was joking. So I bought a bad dog.
Do they even have them?
Oh, yes. Go Google on Amazon. You'll find plenty of bad dog signs.
Okay.
They know Florida law, I guess.
They have them at PetSmart?
I don't know.
Huh.
But I got a bad dog sign for her. I gave it to her. She put it up. And I said, well, at least now you have some legal protection. That's the law in Florida. Get your bad dog signs. Hurry. All right. So what is the third and last Florida law that I'm going to talk about? Don't mind me, I'm pulling out my little iPhone because I didn't get a chance to print this because my printer is giving me horrific problems. There's a law that went into effect. A lot of laws went into effect July 1st, folks. I mean, like a lot of laws in Florida.
Texting.
That's what we're going to talk about. You got the Cupid doll.
Oh, no.
Let's look behind door number 2. Texting while driving is now a primary offense in Florida. It used to be a secondary offense. What does that mean? An officer may now pull you over simply for texting while driving, whereas before they had to pull you over for some other lawful reason, speeding, taillight, whatever, and then they could also cite you for texting while driving. But now it's a primary offense. Oh, well, okay. Let me start this. I'm not going to tell you the exception because I want everybody to go out and text and drive. Let me be clear about this. Okay? None of us should text and drive, and I will concede to the fact that on occasion I'm guilty. Okay? I try to be safe, but I'm guilty, and I shouldn't do it, and nobody should do it. But that being said, when the legislature passes a statute, they should think about what they wrote. The new Florida statute on texting while driving contains an interesting requirement. In order to cite you, the officer must be able to prove you are actually texting. Well, how can he do that when it takes time to pull you over and walk up to your door, and by then I assume you put the phone down? Well, unless he actually saw you texting. Now, really, how could he see you texting from a distance? Maybe you were on the phone. Maybe you were dictating to Siri. He doesn't really know what you were doing.
Oh, come on. That's a stretch.
No, that's the law. So he has to basically be able to prove it. According to the chief of police in St. Petersburg, who sent a memo to his officers about enforcing this new law, what the officer must do, and I'm going to read this to you. The chief of police of St. Petersburg Police Department sent out a memorandum to its officers and deputies to ensure that they understand the law. And in part, the memo said, in order to check, this is a characterization of the memo. In order to check your phone, the officer is required to ask you, may I check your phone? Because that's a search. You give him your phone, he's engaging in a search.
Without a warrant.
Without a warrant. So it means, what does it mean, folks? A search without a warrant, without probable cause, requires consent. Without consent, you either need probable cause or a warrant. Well, reasonable suspicion and probable cause are two different things.
So what if you say no?
That's what you're supposed to do. According to the chief of police in St. Petersburg, Florida, the officer must say, quote, by law, I need to inform you that you have the right to decline a search. So, the officer pulls you over, says, I think you've been texting while driving. May I see your phone? By law, I'm required to advise you that you may decline the search. Look, folks, if you were texting and you give the officer your phone, and he checks your messages and sees that you were texting, you're going to get a citation. Now, until the end of the year, it's a warning. After that, it's a citation. Second offense gets worse. Third offense, okay?
How much are you talking?
I think the first offense is $50? $30. But if you say no, what does the what does the chief of police of the St. Petersburg say? If you refuse to hand over your phone, that's where the traffic stop ends. Thank you very much. You may proceed with your day. So, officer comes up. I think you've been texting. May I have your phone? I'm required by law to advise you that you can decline this request. As Nancy Reagan once said, just say no. Just say no.
What if he doesn't stop?
Who?
The officer.
Even if the officer doesn't stop.
In other words, he keeps pushing.
Then it's a violation of your rights under Chapter 1983. It's a civil rights violation. It's a violation of the Fourth Amendment. It's an unreasonable search and seizure.
Okay.
And that comes from a person who does 1983 civil rights law. Now, of course, there hasn't been a case on that because it hasn't happened yet. But I'm telling you with fair degree of confidence that if you decline to hand over your phone without the officer having reasonable suspicion, and we can go through a whole litany of certain situations where he or she may reasonably have reasonable suspicion. But if he simply, you're driving 60 miles, 80 miles an hour down the turnpike, and he sees a phone in your hand and decides to pull you over, forget the speeding, and says, I think you've been texting, may I see your phone? And gives you this, by law you're permitted to decline, and you say no and something bad happens, I believe with a high degree of certainty and confidence that is a civil rights violation. It's a violation of your Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure.
So he can't get you for reckless driving?
Oh, he can get you for anything else like that. If you were driving in another manner, which was reckless, but if you were just going 69 miles an hour down the 70-mile-an-hour stretch of the turnpike, and you weren't weaving and you were doing everything right, you were driving Miss Daisy, and you get pulled over for texting and you say no, can he cite you for No, he can't. He has no evidence of reckless driving. No evidence of careless driving. No evidence of driving while texting. Any of those citations, in my view, would be an unreasonable search and seizure and would be a violation of the Fourth Amendment. So, that's Florida, folks. Now, let's take a ride around the nation for some crazy laws. And we'll go through them until we get a call, and then maybe we'll continue on. In Alabama.
Oh God.
We're going to go from A to as far as we can get.
Oh,
In Alabama,
which is the moon.
it is a misdemeanor, punishable by a fine of up to $500 or confinement in the county jail for less than 1 year, or both, to impersonate a nun, a priest, a rabbi, or other member of the clergy. Don't wear those Halloween costumes. Not in Alabama, folks, because you're impersonating. You're guilty of a misdemeanor.
Boy, I'm glad I did that in California.
That's right. Now, in Alaska,
Oh,
I know you're not going to believe that this is really real, but I'm telling you it is.
you can't marry a bear.
Yeah, it's almost as funny.
Oh no.
Section 9.36.150 of the Alaska statute. See, that means I'm telling you the truth. Well, I could be making it up, but I'm telling you the truth. No one may tie their pet dog to the roof of a car. There has to be a statute for that, folks, at least in Alaska. Carrying animals on outside a vehicle. No person driving a motor vehicle shall transport any animal. It says something it defines a roof, or the animal is cross-tethered to a vehicle, etc., etc.
What about hunters who?
That's not a pet. Now, well, you're right. It says animal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, gee, zooks. That is really fascinating.
I mean,
I don't know the answer to that one.
so you see that all the time on that Alaska police show.
All right, now this one you're not going to believe. There's a lot you won't believe. The great old state of Arizona, where the rabbi has spent a lot of time. If she's listening, maybe she can address this. Maybe she saw it. I don't know.
Carol and I spent 4 great years there.
It is a misdemeanor. It is illegal for men and women over the age of 18 to have more than one missing tooth visible when smiling. We have some laughter here in the studio.
That's country music fans. What are you
Well,
talking about?
The law was implemented during the Wild West days in order to encourage people in the town to make dentistry more of a priority. Maybe they should pass that law in England.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God,
really?
now I'm going to
Oh, no. No, definitely. Definitely there.
Well, you know, that's the law, folks. So be careful in Alaska if you only have one missing tooth. Or don't smile. In Arkansas, they value their peace and quiet in Arkansas.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Honking one's car horn at a sandwich shop after 9 p.m. is against the law. Section 18-54. 1961 law.
That's when Clinton was there.
No, 1961.
Yeah, he was young buck then.
Well, he was there, but it wasn't anything of anything.
Yeah, but he probably was driving around honking his horn.
No person shall sound the horn on a vehicle at any place where cold drinks or sandwiches are served after 9 p.m.
Oh, man. Who writes this stuff?
I don't know. Not me. It's the same one. And let us not forget the great state of California.
Yes.
Or, as Arnold says, California. I don't think I did that very well. Okay, in Chico, California, It is a town ordinance. It is illegal to own a green or smelly animal hide. Chapter 9.24.010 defined hides. It shall be unlawful for any person to keep, store, or have in his possession any green hide or hide giving off an offensive odor.
Gators. Of course, I don't know whether they have gators in Northern California or not. Oh, God.
All right, folks, here's a funny one. It also comes from the great old state of California, where my sister lived for quite some time, and she's watching. Only in a state you live could there be a law like this, let me tell you. All right, Fish and Game Code, Division 6, Part 1, Chapter 7, Article 2, Frog Jumping Contests. Any person may possess any number of live frogs to use in frog jumping contests. But if such frog dies or is killed, it must be destroyed as soon as possible and may not be eaten or otherwise used for any other purpose.
There was a frog
jumping. No frog's legs.
No, there was a frog jumping event in Northern California. I remember when, I think Carol and I were still in San Diego. It would have been 70s. And that ran into something like that. Was it Calaveras, the world famous frog jumping contest?
What can I tell you?
Oh, my goodness.
All righty. I'm surprised nobody's calling with hey, did you hear the law? Okay, well, if you do, call me, please. Let's turn to Connecticut. A state where...
No constitution.
You've got Yale. You've got lots of wealthy people living there. Okay.
In just one town, though.
Well, okay. Section 153-7.
You could be in Bristol.
Of the state code. No person other than a member of the police department shall have in his possession or blow upon, whistle, or use in any manner a whistle.
How about a football referee?
I guess not within the confines of either Connecticut, or this might be a particular city or county.
That's
Well, it is a town code, and I don't have right here which town.
I'd love to know where that is.
I do believe it was Hartford.
Oh my God. You Oh, yeah.
I think I'm going to give you a heart attack by the end of this.
Yeah, you are. It's so typical.
All right,
Connecticut.
folks. We are we're still in Connecticut, and this is from the Hartford Courant
Oh, yeah. My old
in
paper.
1996. Not
Yes.
that long ago.
No.
The city of Southington.
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 It's right next to Bristol.
I see the word south. I think south.
They're both armpits.
Southington. After intense discussion Tuesday, this is being reported in 1996, the town council passed an ordinance banning the sale, use, or possession of silly string. Violators will be fined $99.
Well, they better not go to B's Bar in Southington because it's all over the place.
Anybody else think these are amusing? I mean, or am I whistling Dixie here?
Totally bizarre.
Delaware, the home of presidential candidate, former Vice President Joe Biden. Oh, don't you dare yawn. All right, in Rehoboth Beach,
Oh, yeah.
don't go to church if you're not really ready to pay attention. And I'm not even sure how this law is constitutional, quite frankly. Matter of fact, I don't think it is constitutional. But in Rehoboth Beach, it is illegal to whisper in church.
That'd have to be a Catholic church.
I don't know. It's church. Chapter 198-23. Disturbing religious worship and lawful assemblies. No person shall disrupt or disturb any congregation or assembly met for religious worship by noise, talking, or whispering, or by rude or indecent behavior, or by profane language within their place of worship, or within 300 feet of the place of worship.
Wow.
Don't do it in Delaware.
Don't whisper walking by a church. 300
If you
feet's
think
a long way.
the priest, minister, rabbi, reverend, if you don't like their sermon, don't whisper to your neighbor anything. Because I guess the police are going to come into the church or temple or synagogue and arrest you. And then call me if it's in Florida, because I think it's unconstitutional. But it's not in Florida, so, The state of Georgia. In Columbus, Georgia, it is illegal to fly a model airplane except on your own private property or on property adjacent to a morgue.
What about a city park?
Says nope. Nope.
A model airplane.
Nope. Privately owned property where the flight of such planes is confined within the boundary line of privately owned property, or B, property which lies adjacent to the county morgue.
And they pay people to write this stuff.
I don't know, maybe just vote them all out. Vote every state legislator, town council member, city member, federal. Let's vote everybody out and start all over again. I offer myself as president.
That's very revolutionary.
I never really thought I could do, I never really thought I was presidential material, honestly. But now I know I could do a much better job than the current occupant. At least I wouldn't have a lot of executive time. I wouldn't be watching TV, and I'd be working hard reading briefs.
And by the way, thanks to my U.S. Air Force for helping win the Revolutionary War.
That's right.
I wasn't aware of that.
Well, according to the president during his occupation of July 4th yesterday. All righty. In Idaho, you might think I'm about to say something about potatoes or potatoes or the way Dan Quayle spelled it. but I'm not. It's more inane. Chapter 5-2-2, entitled Sweeping Debris into Streets. It is illegal, I'm summarizing now. It is illegal to sweep dirt from your house into the street. It shall be unlawful for any person to sweep any dirt from the interior of any building in the city onto any street, alley, or sidewalk in the city.
So what do they call the skinheads in Coeur d'Alene? They're dirt.
Well,
oh, oh. Oops.
And by the way, this is this says it's the whole state.
Wow. Okay.
Illinois, or is it Illinois? I never knew. I think in New Jersey it's Illinois. Hey. Alrighty. In Illinois, if you're riding a bike, don't do anything fancy. Don't be a show-off in Galesburg, Illinois. Because Section 28-345 of the Town Code, no rider of a bicycle shall remove both hands from the handlebars or feet from the pedals or practice any acrobatic or fancy riding on any street.
Wow, I'm glad they didn't do that in L.A.
Well, you know,
I'd have been in deep trouble.
I guess just, don't let go of the bars just to see if you can actually ride without hands, because, I don't know, your dad and mother may have to pick you up in jail. In Indiana,
Oh.
don't throw rocks at birds. Unless, of course, it's in self-defense. Section 403-4. Throwing stones or other missiles. It shall be unlawful for any person to throw any stone or other missile at any bird except in self-defense. I don't know what that bird has to be doing to you, but man, oh man.
Dive bombing. Oh, okay.
Let's go to Kansas, folks. Or maybe let's not. Maybe that's why Dorothy tried to leave.
I was going to say, is that on purpose?
In Wichita. How are they going to enforce this? And even if they could, again, this has to be unconstitutional. It's illegal to say rude things on the phone. Now, I had somebody at the dinner table last night say, oh my gosh, I can't talk on the phone then. Well, you can unless you're in Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah.
Section 5.82.010. It is unlawful for any person to use, cause to be used, or knowingly permit another to use any telephone instrument, telephone equipment, or telephone facilities. This is the way lawyers write. To make any comment, request, suggestion, or proposal which is obscene, lewd, lascivious, filthy, or indecent.
So are those traffic cameras recording audio?
No telephone sex, folks. Not even between boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife.
In Kansas.
Don't do it. Don't do it in Wichita, man. Don't you dare do it in Wichita.
Drove through there once.
All right. In Kentucky. The Kentucky motto apparently is united we stand, divided we fall. That's on their little seal. But apparently it is illegal to dye a duckling blue and sell it. Unless you have 6 of them. Kansas Statutes 436.600. No person shall sell, exchange, offer to sell, or exchange, display, or possess living baby chicks, ducklings, or other fowl or rabbits which have been dyed or colored, nor dye or color any baby chicks, ducklings, or other fowl or rabbits, nor sell, exchange, offer to sell, or exchange, or give away baby chicks, ducklings, or other fowl or rabbits in any quantity less than 6.
Oh. Well, thank goodness Kentucky didn't say anything about bourbon sales or something.
Now, let's see. I hate to tell you. That's also 6. Okay. That goes there. I hate to tell you what happens in Louisiana.
Oh. All bets are off in Louisiana.
You know, folks, by the way, just a little side bit. The entire United States of America, all the states, except one, follow the common law of England. So if we don't have a statute, lawyers can look at the common law of England for like torts, false imprisonment, intentional infliction of emotional distress. If there's not a statute on hand, you can look to the common law of England for guidance and argue that to the judge. Because we have enacted in the beginning of the nation the common law of England as a source of our laws. So where our laws happen to omit something, we can look to that and argue that as the applicable law.
So which is the one state that doesn't?
Louisiana. They follow the Napoleonic Code.
Naturally.
So I have been told when I was just a youngin', don't go to law school in Louisiana unless you intend to practice law in Louisiana.
LSU law, yeah.
Because law schools are designed not to teach you really the law of a state, most law schools. They're designed to teach you how to think like a lawyer. But they're also designed to teach you the essence of federal law and common law to help you pass the bar exam. If you go to law school in Louisiana, there is a heavy focus on the Napoleonic Code. That's not going to help you on any bar exam anywhere in the nation except Louisiana. Because I'm telling you, if you answer a bar exam question and start citing to common law of England, or the Napoleonic Code, the bar examiners are probably going to laugh and then give you a 0.
Okay, so what happens if you're a lawyer in Louisiana and you move to another state? Like,
you got to take the bar exam.
Just like
got to study for it and take the bar exam.
Just like anybody else.
Hey, look, when I moved to Florida, I had to study and take the Florida bar exam.
Okay.
When I went from North Jersey to South Jersey, I didn't have to, but I chose to study and take the bar exam in Pennsylvania. Because my firm practiced across the bridge in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
There are some states that have reciprocity, but Florida has reciprocity with nobody.
Naturally.
Because everybody tries to come here anyway, so we make you take the bar exam. They don't want lawyers that are 82 moving to Florida and being able to practice law.
Okay.
All right, anyway, in Louisiana, you can get 10 years for this, folks. 10 years. Statute 14:67.13-67.13. Theft of an alligator. Theft of an alligator is the misappropriation or taking of an alligator's skin, or part of an alligator, whether dead or alive, belonging to another, either without the consent of the other, to the misappropriation or taking. Whoever commits the crime of theft of an alligator, when the misappropriation or taking amounts to a value of $500 or more, shall be imprisoned, with or without hard labor, for not more than 10 years, or may be fined not more than $3,000, or both.
Wow, I shouldn't have bought those alligator boots in Baton Rouge.
If you're seeing video, I'm shaking my head. My hands are up in exasperation. I don't know what to tell you. Maryland, as it says in the seal, the old line state. I don't know what that means. Be careful with your road rage. How they're going to enforce this, I really don't know. Section 13-53, profanity. A person may not profanely curse and swear or use obscene language upon or near any street, sidewalk, I'm missing a page, or something But essentially, if you're riding in a car and you get PO'd, don't curse.
Well, I'm glad my daughter never drove there.
You know, in order to get to D.C., you usually drive through Maryland or Virginia.
Sure, you have
depending
to.
upon which way you're going.
Uh-huh.
In Missouri. That is how you pronounce it, is that not?
That is correct.
Not Missouri.
No.
Missouri.
Yep.
Why don't they have an A at the end then?
That's a very good question.
Somebody from Missouri, please tell me. Why can't you spell?
Hey, our basketball coach at IRSC's from Missouri.
You know, you know how Cliff, in the preceding hour, likes to announce yard sales?
Yeah.
Cliff, you'd be out of a job in Missouri.
Oh, no.
Yard sales are forbidden. Ah! Forbidden. Yet, no. Section 9.28.060, yard or garage sales. It is unlawful for any person or persons to offer for sale household goods in a yard or garage sale in an area in front of the front building line or the premises in which such person or persons reside.
You got to save that one for Cliff. He'll use that on Swap Shop. That's Missouri? Missouri.
The great state of Montana.
All right.
How do you vote? We vote to ban Frisbee golf at night. Why? Who's going to do it? Section 5-13-2. No person shall play or engage in Frisbee golf after dark. Also in Missouri. Oh, I'm sorry. Mississippi. You know that state that has lots of consonants that repeat itself? S's and P's? You know, hard for elementary school kids to learn.
It is for them anyway.
You know, I can understand spelling Mississippi at the end with P-E-E for P.
If you can spell a state name, you get into college.
All right, in Mississippi. Section 97-29-59. You may not engage in unnatural intercourse. Every person who shall be convicted of the detestable and abominable crime against nature committed with mankind shall be punished by imprisonment in the penitentiary for a term of not more than 10 years.
So there.
Now, the only part of that which I can understand is you also can't do it with a beast.
Well, it is Mississippi, after all.
That has to be a law, I guess.
Well, that's where Shepard Smith's from.
Yeah, I'm hoping, you know, you're the station manager, man. I'm hoping the fact that there are no phone calls means that people are just fascinated by this, because I thought I'd be getting lots of calls today.
It's totally bizarre. I mean, this has been bizarre.
This is Independence Day. This is the laws we chose to pass when we said no to King George. Rhode Island, a colony. Well, you know, Mike Tyson made a good decision not to bite the ear in Rhode Island.
Okay.
Section 11-29-1. Penalty for mutilation or disabling. Every person who shall voluntarily, maliciously, or for the purpose put out an eye, slit the nose, ear, or lip, or cut off, bite off, or disable any limb or member of another, shall be imprisoned for a period not exceeding 20 years, nor less than 1 year.
Wow.
I guess the saying is, don't bite. Tell your kids.
No wonder they have the fights in Las Vegas.
I don't make the laws, folks. The ones in Florida I deal with, but I don't make them. All right, I guess there must be a reason for this in Pennsylvania. There's a lot of things you can't do if you're a felon. You know, even when you get out, you served your time, Now there's a movement towards restoring voting rights, and that is going favorably for the most part across the nation.
Somewhere.
Okay. But in Pennsylvania, they're really going to stick it to that felon. Section 105-13. No person who has been convicted of a felony well, I'm going to summarize instead of reading all the legalese here. No person who has been convicted of a felony shall play bingo.
Okay.
Freedom of religion.
Oh.
Now this is disgusting. And the fact that you had to pass a law, I don't know. The state of Oregon. Section 811.172. I'm giving you these folks so you know they're real. I mean, you can always play back the tape and go look it up. I'm not like the president just making all this up as I go along. Maybe that'll get some calls from our Republican listeners. Section 811.172. A person commits the offense of improperly disposing of human waste if the person is operating or riding in a motor vehicle and the person throws, puts, or otherwise leaves a container of urine or other human waste on or beside the highway. Don't poop and leave it there. Take it with you. That's Oregon.
Okay.
And there was a
Pretty clean state.
there was a musical about this state. That musical called New Jersey? No, Oklahoma.
Yep.
What's the first song? Oklahoma, where the...
Yep.
Yeah, something. I know, what's South Pacific or... I don't know. Oh, well. Section 21-1700. It is unlawful for any person to promote, engage in, or be employed at a bear wrestling exhibition or. That's a signal to something really stupid is coming. Or horse tripping event. What is a horse tripping event? I have never heard of it. Like cow tipping?
Yeah, cow tipping.
Do people tip over horses?
I have no. It's Oklahoma,
And if
man.
they do, is that an event?
It's Oklahoma.
Mel Brooks.
Is that an event?
Mel Brooks. Oh no. Oh.
Ohio. And reading this, I don't understand why we give Ohio so many electoral votes.
Oh no.
This makes me want to reconsider the whole electoral college system. Well, to sum it up, folks, 05.21.00. Report of escape or of exotic or dangerous animal. If you lose your pet tiger in Ohio,
Yes.
you must alert the authorities within an hour.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, come on.
Hey,
That's a law?
I gave you the statute
It's
section.
called common sense.
Well, I guess they had to say that it had to be within an hour, and I guess people were losing their pet tigers. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't live in these places. Florida has enough crazy stuff that we didn't even talk about. In North Dakota. Oh, we're running out of time. I'm going to go really fast now. If you're having a New Year's Eve celebration in North Dakota, you cannot set off fireworks after 11 p.m. Section 8.20.030. So nothing from 11 to midnight. Can't do it. Or after midnight. Do those fireworks early.
Central or Pacific time?
I don't know.
Or Eastern time? Oh.
In North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
I hope you don't like restaurant grease. Because if you steal more than $1,000 of restaurant grease, it's a felony. In New York, there's a statute here. Does Bill Clinton still live in New York?
I think so.
Cheating on your spouse is illegal in New York.
Oh, no.
Section 255.17 of the state penal law. A person is guilty of adultery when he engages in sexual intercourse with another person at a time when he has a living spouse. It's okay if you have a dead spouse. Or the other person has a living spouse. Why did I just say spouse? Why did I have to say living spouse? These are lawyers, folks, that over-lawyer. All right, we have 3 minutes. New Mexico, 2 minutes. 2-minute warning. Okay, in New Mexico, it is illegal for idiots to vote. That's in the statute, idiots. Under qualification of voters, it says you got to be 21, you have to reside in Mexico for 12 months or in the county for 90 days, and you cannot vote if you are an idiot, insane person, and persons convicted of felonious or infamous crimes. I don't know how they define idiot. I know a lot of people that I don't think could vote then.
They're running for office.
In New Jersey, my home state,
Yes.
you cannot wear a bulletproof vest while committing a murder. Section 2C:39-13. In Texas, folks, I know I'm running out of time. In Texas, please cover your ears if you're sensitive. In Texas, it's illegal to own more than 6 dildos. Chapter 43, Public Indecency, Subchapter B, Obscenity. A person who possesses 6 or more obscene devices or identical or similar obscene articles is presumed to possess the same with the intent to promote the same. And I don't have the rest of it, but it's a crime.
Yeah.
All right, Nevada. I don't understand this one. Nevada, Section 8.14.040. Sex toys are illegal. Oh, we're running out of time, and I'm at Tennessee. Do I have less than a minute?
Yep.
Oh, goodness. You can't hold office in Tennessee if you've been convicted of a duel. State of Washington. You can be fined for harassing Bigfoot. There is a county which protects Bigfoot. It actually says Bigfoot, Sasquatch, an ape-like creature of subspecies of Homo sapiens. I can't get to Vermont or Virginia, but have a great time. Have a good week. See you next Friday. This is Stuart Address. I haven't mentioned Cheryl because the office is closed, but feel free to call and leave a voicemail. Have a great weekend, folks.
Okay. You've been listening to Stuart Address, Ask a Lawyer on WPSL, Port St. Lucie.